All right, ladies. What time is it?
Ask
your
aunties. Yes.
Oh, let's see here. It says, "Hey, aunties, I've been dating this guy for about 2 months, and the relationship is actually really wonderful and sweet. Aw." So the other night, I found out that he used to sort of be a rent boy in a major city. Right, used to sort of be a rent boy in a major city before we met, and for some reason, I can't shake that out of my head. He says he isn't really proud of it, but that at the time it was, quote unquote, just a fun thing to do, and he didn't even need the money. How do I get over slut shaming him in my head? Has anyone dated a rent boy? Has anyone been with a rent boy? Ooh, what's that look,
Kerel,
Landy?
now you know damn well. I don't know why you asked that. Acting like it's.
I was trying to keep your secrets a secret.
Oh, really? With that lead-in question?
I mean, he could have said no, and I wouldn't have pried at all.
You know.
But now that you put it out there, what happened?
I have no shame in this game. All right. So really quick, I have a friend, and I have to emphasize that friend. We went to DC a few years ago, and he is an escort. And there's never, ever been any sexual tension. Nothing ever happened. But on the last night of when we were in DC, something did happen. And there was a moment where he kind of pulled me over and we were kind of cuddling. And I realized that I had been labeling my friend who was the escort. I've been labeling him, my friend who's the escort, versus a human being who is my friend, asterisk, who just happens to be an escort. And it was an eye-opening moment because I said I didn't judge him, but I had been judging him by giving him that label instead of just calling him a human and my friend. Yeah. I had been describing him as my friend who just happens to be a sex worker. And so I bring that up to say, it's really, if you care about this person and that's a part of his past, get that out of your mind and see him as a human, as the person that you knew and started to like before you knew that information. No one can change their past, but if you really care about this person, there are things that were attractive about him. Go with that. No one can change their past. If he did it and he doesn't do it anymore, so what? If he was still doing it,
right, yeah.
Right? If he was still doing it, I think it's really one of those things where you just have to like look deep inside your heart and your own humanity and look in the mirror and really think about who you are as a human being for wanting to judge someone based upon what they do for their job. I think it takes a lot of self-reflection versus trying to decide if this is something that you can handle. How do I get over the slut shaming? You see him as that because that's what you have been trained and programmed to think that a sex worker, an escort, whomever, whatever you want to, is less than. That's the problem.
Yeah. Oh,
come on. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Just spit it out, sis. Come on.
I find it funny. Okay, so I can't remember what episode, Kerel, maybe you might, but we had talked about this, something similar to this on the podcast. And I distinctly remember saying that, I can be honest that if it were me, if I were in a dating situation and I was dating somebody that, had like an OnlyFans or had like was a sex worker or whatever, I would have to do some similar to what Aunt Landon was saying. I would have to do some work because I know that I have, some biases. But at the same time, I just find it funny how masterful we all are at compartmentalizing. We will big somebody, our best friends and ourselves up for having a whole ass summer and fuck with everything that moves, breathes,
Period.
got a hole, got
ain't getting nothing out
free.
of it.
For free.
Ain't even getting no, you ain't getting no McDonald's, you ain't getting no IHOP.
But
no
then want to look down on somebody else that at least look, if your claps ain't making no coins, then how good is your claps? So
that's a bar. That's a
That's
bar.
a whole line.
That's a bar. That's what I'm living this summer like. Don't tell my husband.
But like it's so interesting how masterful we all are. And I'll say we all because I count myself in that, and compartmentalizing, like, oh well, I don't know if I could really date you know, and a lot of it doesn't have anything to do with what, you know, like who they are as a person and how they might be able to treat you, you know, but it has a lot to do with, I think, two things. One, the perception of how you will be perceived by others, because everybody's so focused about what everybody think about them. So if you come around with your new boo, Anthony, who is Anthony the Freak.
Oh, Anthony Harder? You pulled out. That's a name. There's not that many Anthony's out there. Wow.
I was trying to give a little something. You know,
come on, Penny.
Wow.
But you know, you bring around Anthony the Freak from IG, hey. and he everybody's drooling over him, but then all of a sudden everybody find out they're a sex worker and they looking at your man, You know, it's less about that man and the potential for you to find, you know, something wonderful, whatever wonderful is, whether it's a fuck buddy or a boyfriend, or a longtime partner, whatever. Find something wonderful with that person, and it becomes more about other people's experiences. You know, so that's thing number one. And I think thing number two is and thing number two is a lot of us have very archaic, and what we say traditional, I say archaic views on sexuality altogether. Yeah. And so, you know, viewing somebody who is a sex worker or has a lot of sex or is very open about, you know, their sexuality, nudity and whatever, having a negative perspective about that thing that has absolutely nothing to do with you and your life and how you're living, that is a lot of old thinking. That goes back to what Landon was saying. It's like, you gotta unpack that.
I agree.
You don't have to do it, but just don't be looking.
But just know you got some Louis Vuitton luggage back there that's just chilling.
That part.
Honey,
yeah, I agree, and clearly, who wrote this in is still having some unpacking, just because we called it out when we read it, like just the sorta, kinda, or whatever they said, or used to sort of be, is or you ain't. So it's just like, and I agree, it's just like, even for myself, it's like I look back and it's just like, why do I have some of the views and things like that of sex workers and things like that? I don't have them anymore. I couldn't give them two shits. I'm like, do the damn thing. And like,
and show me, damn it.
And show me. I mean, it's like, give me a discount too. I'm just playing. But,
no discounts. I got that shit for free. But moving on.
But so it's just like, it makes you stop and think, and you realize you take on a lot of other people's baggage, a lot of other people's views, because they're not comfortable with themselves. Because again, it has nothing to do with the person that's their line of work. It's everything to do with everyone else that's uncomfortable with themselves. Yeah. And so it's just like, they, like you said, need to unpack that shit. Why do you feel that way? Your clap game ain't up to par? Then maybe that's why you feeling a little like judgmental. Or maybe, or it could even be something happened to you, whatever it may be, but like unpack it. Because you sitting there judging them is not helping anybody out. And so if you're trying to be in a relationship, it's not going to be beneficial to your relationship if this is what you're already bringing into it. And it's not fair to that human being at all, because that shit's going to pop up at some point on some bullshit Whether it be like they just happen to flirt with somebody at a bar, so I'd be like, oh, you fucking them too? Like, it's going to come up. That shit always comes up like that. So unpack it, and it's not fair to them because they were cool with their job and they was getting the coin. And even if they didn't need the money, so be it. It has nothing to do with you at all. But if you know that that's not for you, get out of the damn relationship.
That part.
But if you look at starting at the question, I've been dating this guy for about 2 months, and the relationship is actually really wonderful and sweet.
Actually, that's a horrible word.
It's such an emphasis on that and what is natural and what has already taken place. And back in the day, people used to be like, oh, what do you do? As if like a conversation starter because it was supposed to impress the other person. Like that's something you talk about. But that's not what this is about. This is about whoever wrote this. I'm going to tell you right now, if this relationship and this person brings happiness to your life and they are a good person with good intentions, they care about you, the sex worker, the escort part, the rent boy is immaterial. It is not anything that I feel should be a deciding factor. I'm not going to tell people how to feel, but if you are happy, you were happy before you knew.
Yeah.
You were happy before you knew.
You're trying to find a reason to demolish this shit.
Yeah.
Or the flip side of this is that they may be concerned about bringing this person around their friends because perhaps deep down they know their friends aren't shit. And they will be the ones knowing that this person as a sex worker, they would be like, oh, well, then I could sleep with them because, they're a sex worker. So, I could just pay them some da-da-da-da-da. So like, I'm just saying,
I mean, then you gotta get some new friends. You gotta get some new friends if that's like their first thought to do that shit.
But that's what I'm
Your
saying.
friends
like,
ain't shit.
when we think about like the impact, when I think about like somebody who is more concerned about what other people think. I can understand having to explain to my family or having this conversation with my family, like, because Black families go in, they interrogate, so they want to know everything or whatever. And there are ways to get around it. You can say I'm an entrepreneur or whatever, I work for myself or whatever, but when it comes to like your friends and whatnot, and friends are like internet, like
sleuths,
private eyes.
Okay. And Murder, She Wrote.
And I do understand the conflict. That's what I want to say. I understand the inner conflict that one can have about external perspectives, like, and what that could mean, and the insecurity that could exist between someone who's never been in a relationship where during the context of their relationship, their partner, they may be monogamous while their partner is still doing sex work. And that may be something that they have to adjust to. Not to say that you should judge somebody for that, but I'm just saying it may stir up some of these other things.
And it's definitely a conversation. You got to find what's going to work for your relationship if you're not getting what you need out of the relationship due to the job. And that's like any job. If people are like not in sex work and you staying late all the time for work and you're in a relationship and you're not getting what you need out of it, that needs to be a conversation. It's not because it's sex work though. That happens in any line of work where you just get too busy, whatever it may be, and it might be taken away from the relationship. Yes, this one is a little different because it's physical as well. And so, sometimes like you don't want to do the same thing. You don't want to do your job at home. So be like, damn, I've been fucking all day. Now I gotta fuck at home too.
and I gotta show out.
Right, exactly. And so it's just like, and so I get that part of it, but like I just feel it's again not fair to put what you haven't settled in your being on the other person because they were cool with themselves and getting that coin. You weren't complaining when you got that Birkin bag, but now you found out it was because he was a rent boy, and now you want to say some shit. No, it's not fair, and again, it's not for everyone, and you don't have to deal with it, but just don't drag that person in along with you.
You know, some
agree.
people
I agree with
equate some people equate sex with intimacy and love,
Mm.
and that's where the source of that judgment may come. But I was talking to one of my best friends from college about my recent situation from years ago, and that's exactly
My
what he
recent
said to me.
situation from years ago.
Well, 2018. Well, last year as well.
A couple of my situations. A couple of my entanglements.
My situation from years ago. My recent situation from years ago. I love that. That's funny. So she got some unpacking to do still.
Honey, nothing but Adderall, Dick, and McDonald's. But anyway, but in talking to my friend Mike about this, he said, you know, some people equate sex with intimacy and love, and thus when we see people doing what we think is the opposite of that's where we tend to judge. That's the source of our judgment. And that was an eye-opener for me, that whatever reason he does this for, why he does this, belongs to him. I still love him as my friend. I love him as a human being. Would I bring him home? Yeah, I'd bring him home. Mom's just gonna have to deal. She'll be all right.
You know?
So, like...
And it's not his fault. He's good at it.
I'm not worried about it.
We all got talents and gifts that some other people ain't got.
Hey.
Yeah, so...
If not, OnlyFans would not be the multi-billion-dollar company it is.
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
That's true.
All right.
Well, continue to send your auntie questions to aya@minorityReport.com or DM us. That was a good one. And Pride Month is coming up, so we always know some crazy shit pop off around Pride Month. So send your questions in. We want to know. And again, it doesn't have to always be about sex. It doesn't always have to be about relationships. It could be the spectrum that we want Minority Report to be. So send in questions that you're just curious about. Exactly. And we share a lot about of ourselves, but if there's something you're still curious about us about, and you missed a few episodes, send us a question.
We will spill the tea on
we
ourselves,
spill
on
a
each
lot.
other.
I know, it's like, damn, I said that.
Like, damn.